Welcome to another episode of Donovin Darius the Next Level Motivation book reading with none other than your author, Donovin Darius. I hope you guys have been enjoying this reading as I have been enjoying these segments. Don't forget that you can get a copy or you can actually view every single one of these videos on my YouTube page. Okay, just go to Donovin Darius. Definitely go ahead and subscribe there so you get all of these. Again, we are in our 10th one. And each one just keeps getting better. I get so much comments, so many feedback into how it's helping people understand and change their perspective and just encourage them. Just allow them to, just give them the information, the fuel that they need for that day, for that moment, whatever their situation is. And so I want to welcome you guys again to another reading. As you see today, listen, every day is a beautiful day. It's the day that you make it. You can make the day as good as you want it, based off of your positive mental attitude. How do you approach your day? When you wake up in the morning, is life happening to you or is life happening for you and because of you? Only you can decide. And so I always encourage you guys as we walk on this journey, I want to equip you. Just like I played football for 10 years in the league, I had equipment that I had to put on that helped me go into battle, that helped me go out and win, that helped me. I needed cleats, I needed pads, I needed pants, I needed a jersey, I needed a helmet. You know, I had gloves, I had wrist tape, I had all these different things that helped me go out and perform at my best. And just as the Bible says, put on the whole armor of God, so you must put on the armor, you must put on your equipment so that you can need. And it starts right here between the two ears, right here behind these eyes. It starts in your mind, okay? It starts in your mind. And so again, where the mind goes, the body's going to go. Where the mind goes, the emotions and stuff going to go. So again, if you can get this mind right, if you can renew your mind, if you can get the right perspective, if you can have the right things that you focus on, whatever your dominating thoughts are, is what's going to control your life. If your dominating thoughts are negative, that's going to be the direction of your life. If your dominant thoughts are positive, that's going to be the direction of your life. But only you can choose that. And there's some times in life, and as I know, that we have certain seasons of our life where we'll go through times where we'll feel like there's a season where our thoughts are negative. There's a season where we can't see the brightness of anything. We can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I get it. That's a natural part of life. And so I just tell you at those moments, again, having a resource, having a book like this, Next Level Motivation Principles for Living Life to the Fullest, it'll actually walk with you, teach you what do you do in those journeys? What do you do in those seasons? And so again, I want to welcome you guys again for this version, episode number 10, Next Level Motivation Principles for Living Life to the Fullest. Also, before I go, if you missed yesterday, after our session, after episode 9, I did a what I call a spiritual motivation session, live session. And it was an inspiration and encouraging session. Matter of fact, it was like an hour and a half, but it was 3 different ones where I went through and helped to increase your faith through different scriptures within the Bible. Make it very practical, very simple, so you can understand it, so you can apply it to your life. And so again, if you haven't seen that as well, definitely check it out from yesterday, because I posted it yesterday and I'll be making sure I upload it to YouTube today. I'll also be cutting it up because I gave 3 scriptures yesterday and I talked about it, being strong, being confident. Another one's when I talked about trusting in God with all your heart. Don't lean to your own limited understanding. So that way you can basically see life the way it should be seen, and you can explore and manifest the ability that you were meant to do. And in the last one, I talked about God saying he'll never leave you. How many out there feel like, they need that comfort every once in a while? They need to know that, I'm not alone in this thing. So again, check that out. You can check it out on my Facebook page, but I'm also going to upload it on YouTube, so you can definitely check that out from there. But as we get going, okay, I want to welcome everybody. Thank you guys for this journey. Here we are again. We are still in chapter 2. Chapter 2, we're talking about life is a journey. And so hoping, as we've been talking about life as a journey, we've been talking about the different highway of life. And as you travel on the highway of life from the beginning to where you are now, there have been different exits, right? There's been different exits sometimes, and those exits can be detours. That means you had the design to go to the very end. You had the destination, the coordination, where you wanted to go, the blueprint. But through life circumstances, you find yourself taking exits. And sometimes those exits, you can get discouraged, you can get frustrated. okay? Because you think that it's taking you away from, you'll never get there. But I wanted to let you know in our chapter 2, where those exits are really just detours. They're just another way to get to your destination. And more than that, they're opportunities for you to continuously grow. So now think about this. When you get to the final destination, you not only have the experiences of riding on a straight highway of life, but you also have the experiences of the different things that you've encountered along the way. And so no matter how your journey got you there, keep going, keep moving, keep walking, keep living, keep driving, because life is a journey and you're on it, okay? So now we're going to pick it up today, okay? We're going to pick it up when it talked about, let me see where we were at yesterday. We talked about yesterday the highway of life, talking about, again, making sure who's on in your car with you. Sometimes on this highway to life, on this journey, there's some people that you have to let go. There's some people that are just like in a chapter of a book. Do you know when you read a book, okay, a chapter book, when you go from one chapter to the next, typically you're at a different location, one chapter of your life. Then typically there's new characters in the next chapter of your life. Although there are some same characters, there are now new characters in your life. Okay, there's also a different climax. There's a different purpose to that chapter. There's a different thing that you have to overcome. There's a different lesson. And there's always a different outcome and a different victory and climax as well. And so understand that life is a journey. So we're going to pick it up today. The next chapter, in this same chapter, the next subtitle is called The Seasons of Life. Living in New Jersey and New York for most of my life, I had the pleasure of experiencing the change in seasons. The name of this section is called The Seasons of Life. Living in New Jersey and New York for most of my life, I had the pleasure of experiencing the change in seasons. Nothing to me quite compares to autumn when the leaves of fall turn orange, red, and yellow. The temperature shifts from the heat of summer to the nice, clean, brisk air of fall. I also enjoyed as a child when it was wintertime and we woke up to discover that it had snowed the night before. We would wake up in the morning and we rush to turn on the radio, hoping to hear that our school number was called and our school will be closed. Then after we heard the call, we would then gather all the kids on the block to go out to play some tackle football in the park. That was amazing and that was fun. I can't forget springtime, when the cold of winter was over and you could begin to see the beauty of all the new life springing forth. You could put away your long johns and boots and sport coats, and now you can bring out your new short sets and your t-shirts. You could stay up later after daylight saving time. I'm sure you also have good memories that stand out to you when it comes to the beauty and the purposes of each season. Similarly, as we experience and adjust to each season from a temperature standpoint, we also find ourselves going through the various seasons of life. Like winter, there are times when life seems cold, lonely, and nothing appears to be growing or producing any positive results. Then there is spring, when we begin to see the fruits of our labor. We see life coming together. The things that once were non-existent now show growth and development. Then there's summer, when it feels like the heat is on. Everywhere you look, there's pressure to either perform or produce. It's hot, it's muggy, and sometimes it's downright irritating. Lastly, there's fall, where the heat decreases, the color of nature begins to change, and life continues its great cycle. When we understand how life has seasons, we can anticipate and respond to the seasons accordingly. Understanding this principle also helps us have the right perspective as we go through each season. For example, it doesn't matter how cold it gets in the wintertime. It doesn't matter how much snow falls, how many flowers die, or how dark it becomes. You can count on springtime always coming. We don't get frustrated and throw away all your summer clothes because it's cold out. Instead, you anticipate the change in weather. You expect and you believe that it would change because we've seen it before, time and time again. In other words, no matter what your situation looks like on your job, in your home, at your school, in your health, in your finances, it will always change. You can count on that. What's most important in these moments is that we get what we need to endure and persevere. That could mean adding a scarf for the weather or writing a new plan and strategy for your home or your business. My encouragement to you is to find out what season you're in and get all the information you can about maximizing that time period until that season changes. You know, one of the most amazing things, you know, as we start reading that, when I think about seasons, and I don't know for you, what is your favorite season of the year? What season do you look at that you really, really enjoy naturally? Well, very similarly, as we have these seasons naturally, as we talked about in this chapter, there are these seasons in our lives. See, when I think about winter season, you know, as we talked about winter season, it can be cold, it can be dried up, it can be like there's nothing happening. But what you should do when you're in winter season, here's what you do. Every season has a purpose to it beyond what we see. There's another thing we should now do and a person we should become. So when you get to the wintertime, here's what I recommend you do. Because it's dried up, because it's cold, that is the time for you to go back and start to use the intellectual function that you have, your imagination. You see, in the wintertime is when you should start going back and start to dream again. It's where you start to find your ideals. You start to find what the path of your life is by going back to your imagination. Because in the wintertime, you can't do as much out here because there ain't much fruit going on. There's not much growth. But where the growing begins, where everything in life begins, everything is manifested through an idea. And so when you find yourself in the wintertime, in the winter season of whatever area of your life is, that's the time for you to start dreaming again. That's for the time when you should get alone, get by yourself. You should spend some time. You should turn the TV off. You should get a pad and pen. You should just think about it. Or you don't even need a pad and pen. Just kind of sit there and just think about, what do you want to become? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And it's from those things. It is from that concept, it's from those moment of times where that dreaming state of mind, where you're seeing anything is possible, everything is possible. That's where you start when you get into that winter season. So here we go. If you find yourself in your winter season, everything is cold, dried up, you don't see anything growing, anything producing, now that means it's time to go back and do it all over again. Start with the imagination. Start with the thinking process. Start with the dreaming. Start these things and start writing this stuff down. Like I say, it's like the brainstorming phase. Don't add no judgment to it. Don't talk about how it's going to get done. Don't talk about what you have or what you don't have, the resources, whatever you don't have it. That's the time to start writing it down, thinking about it, dreaming about it, and it starts with an idea. Okay, so after the winter season, all we know now, we down know the springtime. Now the springtime starts to come because now things are starting to sprout. Things are starting to sprout. And when they start to sprout, you get excited. The weather kind of warms up a little bit. But now during the springtime, what you should do is that's the time when you start planning things out. The springtime is when you start planning it out. So you take all the things that you wrote down on your notebook. You take all the things that you wrote down in your brainstorming, all the ideas, all the dreams, all the possibilities. Now during the springtime, you start giving them shape. That means you start putting them in categories. You start writing them down. Okay, personally, this is what I want to accomplish, and this is how I'm going to accomplish it. You write it out. You begin with the end in mind, and then you start planning it out. What are all the steps that you got to do to accomplish that? Okay, you start writing all those things out, planning everything out for your physical, for your mental, for your financial, for your spiritual, for your emotional health. All those things, that's what you do in the springtime. See, the springtime, you're just planting the seeds, but you're also planting the seeds by the planning and the strategizing. And one of the key things I always want you to remember, whenever you plan out something for you to accomplish, always begin with the end in mind. That means always start at the end, and then what we call reverse engineer, walk back and say, what's all the steps I got to do from where I want to be to where I am now. And that's what you do during springtime. Now in summertime, as we said, sun is out, heat it up a little bit. That's the time to work. Okay, you start sweating, right? You start sweating in the summertime. Well, that's the time when you put all the plans that you already strategized. Okay, from the wintertime, you thought about it. You dreamed about it. The world of possibilities. Springtime, you planned it out. You strategized it. You gave it shape. You gave it timelines. You gave it deadlines. You put in there, okay, who should I call? Who should I talk to? When should I do it? When's the best time? You do it in the springtime. Now it's summertime. Now it's time to get to work. Now there's time, ain't too much more thinking, ain't too much more dreaming, ain't too much, imagining. You already did it. Ain't too much trying to strategize. You already strategized. Now it's time to put it to work. That means now it's time for you to get up and do what you need to do to exercise a plan. In order for you to exercise and be successful during the summertime, you need discipline. You need discipline. Discipline is going to be the fuel to get you through your summer. Discipline is going to be the fuel. The fuel is like the fertilizer to really help those plants and those seeds grow during your summertime. And so during the summertime, it's time to work. It's time to get to work. Listen, I used to always have a saying when I played football, and I say it even now. When the person tells me that they want to accomplish something and they want to do something great, they want to change their life, here's what I tell them. Let your actions speak so loud that I don't have to hear a word you're saying. Let your actions speak so loud, I don't have to hear a word you're saying. Sometimes there's too many people just talking. They're talking about what they want to do. Yeah, that's okay to declare what you want to do, but don't stop there. Because after you stop there, after you declare that, now it's time to shut up. It's time to be quiet, and it's time to just get it done. And so in the summertime, it's about getting it done. When I go to the weight room and I go work out, one thing for me is I don't really need buddies to work out with. I don't need a whole lot of people to work out. I don't need somebody just motivate, encouraging me. Yeah, you got it done. I don't need that. As a matter of fact, sometimes that can be a distraction to me because I already made up my mind that I got to get this done. And so the conversation now is between me and myself. It's me telling myself exactly what I want to do, and my body and my everything else, responding to what I told it to do. And now it's time to get it done. You see, that's the only conversation that's needed. But during the summertime, it's time to work. Get to work, and let's get it done. Okay? And then, of course, during the work time, as you're doing it, you're tweaking different things here and there. But remember, you're putting forth the action that you need to get things done. And then after summertime, after the heat, here comes the fall. Here comes the fall. What happens during the fall? The leaves turn. The leaves turn. You can start seeing the fruit of your labor. You can start seeing things. The weather cools down. It's not as hot. Okay, it's not as hot. The weather cools down. You can put on that scarf that you love to wear. You can put on those boots. Ladies, you like those boots. You put on those boots. You bring that bag. You put on that jacket. Fellas, you can put on that, you can put on that nice little sweater. Look at all those styles. Put on that little hat. You can do what you need to do because in the harvest time, in the fall time, is the harvest time. Now you can see the fruit of your labor. Now you can see things really producing. And it's that time that you'll see the momentum of all the hard work. You see, here's the great thing I want you to realize about this seasons of life. There's 3 seasons that have everything to do with the season where you get a chance to relax, you get a chance to respond, you get a chance to receive. But here's what most people do. Most people don't put in the work. Most people don't go through the planning phase. Most people don't go through the thinking phase. Most people don't go through the strategy phase. Most people don't go through the work phase long enough with commitment and discipline enough to when it's harvest time, when it's the fall time, when it's the fall season, where you now get a chance to enjoy the fruit of your labor. You get a chance to now take a deep breath, and you get a chance to now get to the place of your arrival. See, if you don't put in the work before, you'll never have that fall. See, there's some people right now that they're just stuck in the winter season. They're stuck in the winter season trying to do what you're supposed to do in the summertime. They're stuck in the springtime trying to do what they're supposed to do in the fall time. They're in the springtime season trying to expect everything to happen. Guess what? And that's the season of the planning and strategizing. But they're looking for the harvest. You haven't planted in yet. You haven't planted the seeds yet long enough. You haven't fertilized it yet. You haven't done the things it takes. And so when it talks about life is seasonal, just understand it. In your life, you may be at different seasons in different places. That is very possible for you to be in springtime in your relationships, where you need to plan it out. See, I'll tell you a thing that recently me and my wife did, talking about life is seasonal. I realized, me and my wife, we was talking about just kind of where we're going to go, what we're going to do, what's the next stage of our life is like. We talked about that personally, professionally, and we talked about it from a relationship standpoint. And then it hit me. It hit me that our conversations was a lot about what we were doing personally or professionally. Like I'm talking a lot about where I'm going, the different things that I'm doing, the videos, the books, the speaking, the travel, the China, the Africa, to everything that I'm doing in terms of speaking and the impact and all that stuff. You know, and she's cheering me on, and she's right there with me. And then I'm hearing her talk about school and, you know, her being a gifted teacher and highly effective and the kids and this, that, and the other. And we're talking about that, and we're having a good time. We're supporting each other. But then I realized, I said, wait a minute. We're talking about all these things, okay, professionally and all these things. But we need to get back and we need to start talking again about us. We need to talk about us. We need to talk about what we're doing. You see, we were good talking about the vision. We set the vision again for the next stages of our life professionally. But then how many of you guys know that there's times in your relationship that you have to, because life is seasonal, that you have to rewrite the vision. You have to redeclare the vision on what the next stages are. And so what we did, here's the exercise we did. Okay, is we sat down and we talked about it. We said, okay, let's put together a list of things that we want to have discussions about, that we should have talks, that we should have discussions about, where I get to get your input in, you get to get my input in. I get to see what you think about that, and then you get to see what I think about that. Now, Grant, you say, wait a minute, Don, but you was married for already 4 years. I mean, didn't you guys discuss this? Yes, we did in the beginning. You see, and I realized that what we were doing, we was living off the residue of our companionship instead of the components of our relationship. And what that means to me, I'm gonna say it again. When you first get together, sometimes you're living off the residue. We're living off the residue of our companionship. That means we're excited to be around each other. We're excited about what we were doing and what we accomplished in our lives. And we were just happy and we were just loving life, loving each other, going about our merry way together. But then after a while, after the companionship, not so much wore off, but after that has taken its toll, man, then you have to rewrite the vision, and we had to rewrite the vision on what's the next stages, what's the next step, what's the next year, what's the next couple years, what's the vision for our relationship. And so what we did is we wrote a list, and on that list it had 30 things on it. It had everything to do with our finances. It had everything to do with vacations. How do I see vacation? How do you see vacation? It had everything to do with, it had our family. It had, okay, our extended family. What do you think about when you think about your extended family in terms of time with them and not? What do I think about? What about friends? What about personal time? What about what about trips? What about our children, parenting? And so what we did is we revisited. We rewrote the vision. And what we did is we allowed a list to determine and allow us to go back and forth and share what our ideals are. How many of you guys know that the same person you was 5 years ago, you're a little different now? And for somebody to think that you're the same person could be actually a discredit and disservice to you at this moment. But the only way you can let them know who you are is if you communicate that. And so the benefit of that exercise that we did is this. By us going back and forth, by us sharing our thoughts and our perspective and our ideas on each topic, we got a chance to see what at this stage we have alike, what we think alike, and we got a chance to really understand one another and how we see things differently. See, oftentimes in relationships, people are just, as I said, living off the residue of their companionship instead of the components of their relationship, which means now we need to set what are the components of our relationship? What are we going to do in terms of our ministry together? What are we going to do in the ministry individually? These are components. These are different areas of our lives. And see, if you don't write those things down and you don't have the discussion, then it's foolish to think that person knows exactly what I'm thinking. It's foolish for me to think they know what I'm thinking unless we have a discussion about it, which says, hey, what do you think about this? Oh, okay, here's what I think about this. Now, what do we want to think of? How do we think about this? And what do we want to do to establish that and to bring that to pass in our life? And so, as I said, life is seasonal. See, in our life, in my relationship with my wife, I realized that we were basically at the winter time. Didn't mean that we were dried up. It just means that there were some things that we were running out of the season that we just had. Now it was time to go back to the drawing board, meaning it was time to go back. It was time to address the issues. It was time to plan out, think out, and all that. And then what we did after we had that list and we went back and forth, then we start planning some things out. All right, this is what we're going to do. The next time we talk, this is what we're going to do. We're going to address these 5 things, and we're going to put these things on the calendar. We're going to strategize this. We're going to do this. Listen, you guys, living life to the fullness cannot happen on accident. It has to be intentional. You have to be intentional. I think that's one of the greatest lessons that I received by playing in the National Football League for as long as I did, or professional sports, period. Whether it was in college, elite college, high school, whatever, is that you have to be intentional. It's not just going to happen. You gotta plan it out. You gotta think it out. You gotta plan it out. You gotta work it out. And then you have to now cultivate it, and you gotta take care of it. And so listen, man, I encourage you guys today. You know, this lesson today was about life is seasonal. And understanding what season are you in what area, in what chapter or what area of your life. If you're in the winter, write it out, plan it out, think, you know what I'm saying, write it out, think it out, imagine it out. If you're in spring, it's time to plan it out, strategize it out, begin with the end in mind. If you're in the summer, it's time to get to work and work it out. If you're in the fall time now it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor by cultivating what it is that you have already produced. So listen, it keeps going. It keeps going. It doesn't stop. You have work to do, okay? You're becoming something. The very word work means to become. My question to you is, who are you becoming? What are you becoming? What is going to be different about you because of this lesson today? How are you going to change, or what are you going to do differently because of what you heard today? I want to post your comments, you guys. Let me hear your feedback. Let me hear your feedback. And so listen, you guys, as we continue to go, I want to thank you guys again. Remember, you can pick up your book, okay? For the next couple of weeks, I put this book up on sale. Okay, not even sale. I just lowered the price because I want you to be able to get it. All right? So on Amazon, $10.95. You guys, I lowered it. It was $14.95. Now it's $10.95. So definitely get yourself a copy on Amazon. Okay, it's going to come. I'm actually going to sign it. So if in the next couple of weeks you go ahead and purchase your copy, if you haven't already, I'm going to autograph it and send you a signed copy of this book as well. So definitely get over to Amazon. You can go pick it up as well. It's also available in a Kindle version as well. So again, if you like to read on your tablet or something, you can do that as well. But sometimes for me, it's nothing like having something that I can just write in. I can circle. I can notate. Again, I'm kind of old-fashioned, so. That is it for me. But listen, if you enjoyed today's message, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share to all these things. I'm going to upload this, as I mentioned, to YouTube. I want to remind you guys to that. Definitely also, don't forget, make sure you like and follow the All Pro Motivation Facebook page, because now I'm going to start moving from this page. Okay, I'm gonna move from the private Donovin Darius to make sure you guys go over to All Pro Motivation page and make sure you like and follow that, because that's where these videos, quotes, and all that stuff is going to be as well. And I also have a Donovin Darius public page as well, so I can start pushing everything there. And so now as the network continues to grow, as my audience continue to grow, as I get a chance to connect with more people, you know, I can make sure I get a chance, opportunity to serve them in the room that can, and that public page allows me to do that. The All Pro Motivation page allows me to do that, versus just the 5,000 that is here on this page right here. So again, feel free, help me, you guys, grow those pages. Help me grow the audience. Invite people. You can invite people to those pages as well. So again, definitely go ahead and invite them to those pages. So that way, if you've been a blessing, if this has been a blessing to you, this has been encouraging to you, go ahead and share it. Help people get over there, man. Listen, I can't do this thing alone. And so I thank you guys for it, man. I want to be posting some other stuff today. So again, if you guys stick around, I know you're going to work and everything, but today I'm going to be pushing out a lot of different content. I'll do it live, and I'll also upload it as well. So I'll see you then, you guys. Be blessed. Have a wonderful day. I love you guys. Be blessed in everything that you do. All right, God bless.